Welcome back to the channel. With all of the hype and the focus on the Premier League being bigger than ever, with Arsenal faltering, United looking decent and then bad and then really good and then awful, Liverpool controlling the pace at the top, and Leicester and City both being surprise packages for completely different reasons than you were expecting, we wanted to focus on unsung heroes who are performing at a very high level in the country, just not in the Premier League. This is the best 11 players in the UK not playing in the Premier League. These guys would give rubbish sides a run for their money in the Prem. We'll include a manager and some subs too. We need a squad big enough to challenge on all fronts. And there are a lot of top managers plying their trade in the second or third division of English football and in Scotland too. We have to start in goal. There's a plethora of top goalkeeping talent in the Championship in particular, with ex-Brentford keeper Daniel Bentley being one of them. He's a superb shot stopper and currently plays in the southwest of England at Bristol City. He has some of the highest shot stopping stats in the league this season. At about 0.68% shots faced he saves, which is absolutely incredible. And his move from Brentford in the summer has gone down well with Bristol City fans. However, a lack of top flight experience could count against him here, but keep an eye on him in the future. Also in the Championship, we could use Marcus Bettinelli, who has had top flight experience and even been called up to the England squads to play Spain and Switzerland a few years back. However, he didn't play and was part of that awful Fulham defence that got relegated last season, who conceded like 10 goals a game or something. So we have to go with the keeper, who has actually had a run in the Prem, pulled off individually world-class performances in Europe and in the Scottish leagues. And he basically looks bigger than a rugby player. Fraser Forster's first and second stint at Celtic have been superb. His League Cup final heroics this season against Rangers were absolutely class, and everyone remembers when he blocked every single shot faced against Barcelona at Celtic Park. He was a man mountain that evening. He'd slot into most Premier League 11s as even a second choice keeper, and despite being a little bit older and maybe less potential than other keepers in this list, we have to put him in our starting 11 now. The England rugby team could have used him in the World Cup final this year. He's that big. By the way guys, we have a quality Celtic channel where we talk about everything green and white, so give it a follow and Neil Lennon will love you forever. Right back. This is a tough call between a Leeds and Rangers right back respectively. Luke Ayling has been a stalwart of the Leeds side that nearly got promoted last season and are currently around the summit of the Championship now. Managed by Bielsa, this Leeds side could soon be a Premier League side themselves. However, we have to say that James Tavernier at Rangers has been that sort of fullback you can rely on to take spot kicks and lead the side. A bit like a Dennis Irwin or Julian Dix type. He's improved Rangers no end in terms of a solid defensive output and a great dead ball delivery. Check out our Rangers channel too for everything Rangers news related. He looked absolutely gutted to miss out on the League Cup final against Celtic in early December, but if anyone will help guide Rangers back to their glory days, Tavernier is one of those players that will do. Our first defender is one of those players who, when they were very young, had a random cameo in a massive game, and when Chelsea shocked Liverpool 2-0 at Anfield in the season that Gerrard slipped, Ivanovic and an unknown defender from the Czech Republic, Thomas Kalas, was pivotal in the title going to the blue side of Manchester. Keeping a clean sheet at Anfield is no mean feat. Despite that performance, never really developed at Chelsea. Chelsea farmed him out to Germany, Holland and the Championship 7 different times before he settled at Bristol City last summer in a permanent transfer. He's been part of one of the best defences in the league this season and last. And at 26, we could certainly see him moving to a Premier League club very soon. Alongside him, despite the brilliance of Ben White, who's a Brighton loanee, who's made Leeds' defence even better than last season, or Janssen, who moved to Brentford from Leeds and was superb in his own right. And in Scotland, Christopher Ajer or Philip Helander, who arguably are the 2 best defenders in the league. We have to look past it and go with the Welsh centre-back Ashley Williams, another forgotten man who was released by Everton in the previous summer. And another Bristol City defender makes the cut. Williams has been immense for the Robins so far, and his temporary short-term deal was converted into a full contract as soon as Lee Johnson saw Williams' form and fitness come to fruition. With experience in the middle realms of the Premier League and semi-finals of the Euros, could Williams improve a backline in the Premier League right now? Absolutely. At left back, Arsenal could do with this guy in their backline. Kieran Gibbs has been in the form of his life under Slaven Bilic at West Brom, and they currently challenge Leeds for the automatic promotion spots in the Championship. Gibbs has played at the highest level for Arsenal, and injuries and a lack of career progression meant a move to West Brom suited both clubs. He's made a decent start to this season with a goal and an assist, and plenty of clean sheets, but injuries still persist, which is a bit of a shame. With 10 caps for England and numerous appearances for Arsenal in the Champions League, Gibbs is that sort of reliable player that would still cut it in the Premier League. Defensive midfield. We have to go with the one and only Scott Brown. Celtic through and through and a tough tackling midfielder, he's pulled off class performances in international and Champions League levels for Scotland and Celtic. Could he 50-50 go over the top of the ball and munch someone in the Premier League? Yes. Does he make this side? Yes. Brown can often be underrated for his brilliant work ethic and ability to keep the ball ticking over in midfield. With 1 million trophies in Scotland to his name, Brown would excel in a dogged Premier League side. Imagine him playing against Arsenal week to week. Now that's what dreams are made of. Centre mid. Despite our love of Scott Brown, we need a midfielder who can create, and Tom Kearney is exactly that kind of guy with 6 goals and 3 assists so far this season, which has turned Fulham into a club that could be bidding to be that classic Premier League yo-yo club that we all know and love. He was hampered in a poor Fulham side in the Premier League last season, only scoring once and assisting once. However, at the age of 28, he is in his prime, and in a Premier League side who has settled, say at Brighton for example, he could be beating defenders and grabbing assists to his heart's content. There are some exceptional wingers in the Championship. They seem to flourish playing the likes of Reading and Barnsley. However, there is one winger or creative playmaker that seems to be flourishing above all the rest. Jared Bowen is one of the highest scorers in the Championship this season, despite not being a striker and Hull languishing in mid-table. He has trickery, a keen eye for a pass and obviously a goal. At 22, Bowen is the sort of player that Hull fans, FIFA Manager fans and FIFA players who like to build Championship sides on Ultimate Team will absolutely know and love. Left midfield, again a close call. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate in this video, particularly from Brentford fans, if getting hate from Brentford fans is such a thing. But Ollie Watkins, their left winger, has been an absolute sensation in the Championship. With a banging right foot, he can cut in and score some great goals. He scored about 15 goals in all competitions this season. But in Scotland, there's a lad called Elyounoussi who's just a little bit better in my opinion. Celtic fans have seen a natural winger who can also play further forward. Ripped teams apart in Scotland and also in the Europa League, particularly his performance against Lazio was brilliant. And with 15 plus direct goal contributions himself in Scotland and Europe, he can make the difference for us on the left. Our first striker is an absolutely easy one. Mitrovic may have been hot and cold in the Premier League for Fulham, but his seasons before and after Fulham's promotion and relegation was sublime. He's already the Championship's highest goal scorer this season, and with a bullet of a header and a scorcher of a shot, and to be honest, I wouldn't want to mess with him and leave him on the bench. He looks too scary for me. Our second striker is Alfredo Morelos. If you ask a Celtic fan, who's better between Morelos and Edouard, or even a large part of Scotland football fans in general, the debate would be closer than Brexit. Both have their merits and both are relatively young. However, Morelos has been doing it for slightly longer, notching up 42 goals and 70 appearances in only 2 years. Edouard came on against Rangers in the League Cup final, arguably his biggest game so far for Celtic, and was also brilliant. This is a really tough one. If we can have rolling subs, I'll play both of them. Okay, no, I'm going to have to stick to my guns. Plus, Morelos and Mitrovic up front is that 5-star wanted rating on GTA that the Premier League's been calling out for a very long time. Honourable mentions have to go to the Frenchman first, obviously, Edouard, who with 34 goals in 60 appearances and still only being 21 has an incredible future and would get into most Premier League squads probably on their bench. Alfie Mawson was a centre-back that Fulham craved in the Prem, but failed to turn into a decent one, well, enough to keep them in the league. However, this season in West London, he's been decent, and his previous seasons at Swansea were also class. Makes this guy a solid bench option for us. Matheus Pereira is what West Brom fans have been calling for. More Brazilian flair. Less Tony Pulis, less Gareth Barry, more flicks and Rabonas. He settled really well under Slaven Bilic, and he looks like he could be the player of the season in the Championship. Our final honourable mention has to be Lewis Graben, who's got 10 goals already this season and 1 assist. He has a very, very high shots on target percentage, and he's that striker in the Championship that you kind of see always kicking around, always scoring goals, and never quite making the push in the Premier League. We think he'd be good enough to nick a few in the Premier League if push came to shove. And despite coming across as quite a douche in that Netflix show about Sunderland, we'll take his weird beard and his goals any day of the week. There are tons of players who've missed out here, and it's a really, really tough debate. But in the manager department, there is absolutely no question. The man from Argentina who loves watching you over the fence like your weird neighbour. Bielsa has managed his country, massive clubs in Italy and France, and even won the FIFA Fair Play Award in 2019. How is that possible? He is a sheer class manager, and the Championship is lucky to have him, and his weird 3-3-3-1 formations. He could manage any side in the top 6 with ease, and somehow Leeds have managed to keep him for 2 seasons. that's a minor miracle in its own right. Guys, thanks for watching. Let us know if there's any players we've missed out. I'm sure there's a ton. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and keep up to date on the channel for new videos coming soon.